this is not just a story. It is a question that could affect anyone watching me right now. When you walk into a hospital, you go with hope, believing that you will come out better, alive and healed. But this hope is shattered for many Nigerians. They walked into the hospital and never walked out. So we ask, is the hospital a saving facility, or has it become a murder space? They said it was malaria. They said it was gas. Some said it was nothing serious. Mourners begin to relay different stories, just as families lament the loss of their loved ones. But who questions the doctor? By the time the truth came out, it was already late. In January 2026, renowned author Chimamanda Adichie accused Iraqi multi-specialist hospital in Lagos of medical negligence after a 21-month-old son died following a routine procedure. A child went into the hospital to seek proper health care, but unfortunately, he never came out alive. The Lagos state government ordered an investigation, but for the family, no investigation can bring back a child. And this is not the first time. Human rights lawyer Chief Gani Faweyimi was treated for pneumonia until doctors abroad discovered cancer. Too late. The former Director General of NAFDAC, Professor Dora Akunyili, fought an illness that was reportedly misdiagnosed, and Nigeria lost one of its finest minds. Nollywood actress Kemi Afolabi was said to have survived only because she left Nigeria after receiving multiple wrong diagnoses at home. Nigerian fashion designer Toyin Lawani still suffers the consequences after a spine surgery implant in Nigeria. If they were not safe, then who is? In hospital wards across Nigeria, mothers are crying. Fathers are asking questions that will never be answered. Children are growing up without parents because a diagnosis was wrong. 61-year-old Caroline Idemba underwent a hysterectomy to relieve years of pain. Months later, she developed fatigue, pelvic pain, and abdominal bleeding. Doctors suspected infections. Tests came back inconclusive. Months passed and her condition worsened. Only after a biopsy was she diagnosed with stage 4 cervical cancer. She says, if they had caught it earlier, maybe things would have been different. Maybe I wouldn't be fighting for my life right now. 45-year-old Chioma Okafor, a mother of 3, visited a reputable Lagos hospital with persistent headaches and blood vision. She was diagnosed with migraines. Months later, another hospital found a brain tumor. By then, it was inoperable. She did not survive. Adamu Musa, a farmer from Kano, watched his wife Aisha suffer severe stomach pains. Doctors treated her for ulcers. Months later, it was discovered she had appendicitis, but it had ruptured. She died during surgery. One family says their son complained of headache. They treated malaria. Behold, it was meningitis, but at the end, he gave up the ghost. Another family says their child, Akin Bright, went in for surgery and came back with parts of his body missing. Till today, no clear answers. Doctors will tell you, oh, they are overwhelmed, and obviously, many of them are. But hear this clearly. Being tired must never cost a life. Being careless must never be excused, and silence must never replace justice. Today, Nigerians are afraid of hospitals. Some now stay at home and pray, seeking divine healing. Some self-medicate. Some wait until sickness becomes emergency because they fear that asking for help may be what kills them. Hospitals are supposed to be sacred spaces, places where life is protected, not places where families learn how to mourn. So we ask again, and we ask for every mother, every father, every child. Is the hospital a saving facility or a murder space protected by silence? Until Nigeria fixes its healthcare system, until negligence is punished, until patients are heard, every hospital visit remains a gamble, and every Nigerian is at risk. Lydia Ajayi, Africa News 24 TV, and please don't forget to follow us on all our social media platforms and subscribe to our YouTube channel. This is not just a story. It is a question that could affect anyone watching me right now. When you walk into a hospital, you go with hope, believing that you will come out better, alive and healed. But this hope is shattered for many Nigerians. They walked into the hospital and never walked out. So we ask, is the hospital a saving facility, or has it become a murder space? They said it was malaria. They said it was gas. Some said it was nothing serious. Mourners begin to relay different stories, just as families lament the loss of their loved ones. But who questions the doctor? By the time the truth came out, it was already late. In January 2026, renowned author Chimamanda Adichie accused Iraqi multi-specialist hospital in Lagos of medical negligence after her 21-month-old son died following a routine procedure. A child went into the hospital to seek proper health care, but unfortunately, he never came out alive. The Lagos state government ordered an investigation, but for the family, no investigation can bring back a child. And this is not the first time. Human rights lawyer Chief Gani Faweyimi was treated for pneumonia until doctors abroad discovered cancer. Too late. The former Director General of NAFDAC, Professor Dora Akunyili, fought an illness that was reportedly misdiagnosed, and Nigeria lost one of its finest minds. Nollywood actress Kemi Afolabi was said to have survived only because she left Nigeria after receiving multiple wrong diagnoses at home. Nigerian fashion designer Toyin Lawani still suffers the consequences after a spine surgery implant in Nigeria. If they were not safe, then who is? In hospital wards across Nigeria, mothers are crying. Fathers are asking questions that will never be answered. Children are growing up without parents because a diagnosis was wrong. 61-year-old Caroline Idemba underwent a hysterectomy to relieve years of pain. Months later, she developed fatigue, pelvic pain, and abdominal bleeding. Doctors suspected infections. Tests came back inconclusive. Months passed and her condition worsened. Only after a biopsy was she diagnosed with stage 4 cervical cancer. She says, if they had caught it earlier, maybe things would have been different. Maybe I wouldn't be fighting for my life right now. 45-year-old Chioma Okafor, a mother of 3, visited a reputable Lagos hospital with persistent headaches and blood vision. She was diagnosed with migraines. Months later, another hospital found a brain tumor. By then, it was inoperable. She did not survive. Adamu Musa, a farmer from Kano, watched his wife Aisha suffer severe stomach pains. Doctors treated her for ulcers. Months later, it was discovered she had appendicitis, but it had ruptured. She died during surgery. One family says
Hello, good afternoon, and thank you for your company with us on Africa News 24 Television, your premier source for timely updates from across the continent and beyond. I'm Timothy Crown, ADERIBIGBE, bringing you the latest development in politics, sport, entertainment, and more. We begin this hour with the news of an accident involving multiple trucks, which has claimed the life of a driver at the Otedola Bridge area of Lagos in Ungot Secretariat on the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, causing severe traffic disruption today. The incident occurred when two articulated trucks, one carrying sand and the other granite, collided after engaging in a dangerous struggle for right-of-way. The Lagos State Traffic Management Authority spokesman Adebayo Taufik, who confirmed the incident via statement, said the crash left the driver of the sand-laden truck trapped in the wreckage. Taufik said last mile officials arrived swiftly and worked to free the victim before handing him over to the Lagos State Ambulance Service. Taufik disclosed that the driver was rushed to the General Hospital Ikeja, where doctors later confirmed him dead, while the second driver was rescued unharmed. In a related development, last month's spokesperson stated that another trailer loaded with flour overturned about 50 meters away from the main crash site, further worsening traffic congestion in the area. We shift our attention to politics, and former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has raised concern over what he described as deliberate delays by the Senate in amending the Electoral Act 2022, warning that the credibility of the 2027 general election is at risk. Atiku made his known in a statement where he said flaws in the current electoral law contributed to the challenges that marred the 2023 general election. The former vice president and the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party noted that unless urgent reforms are carried out, Nigeria risks repeating the same mistakes in future elections. He accused the Senate of frustrating the passage of critical amendments needed to strengthen the electoral process, citing recent findings by the Foundation for Investigative Journalism as evidence of poor commitment to reform. Atiku warned that failure to amend the Electoral Act ahead of 2027 will amount to a deliberate attempt to undermine the credibility of the next year general election. Still in politics, former Governor of Ekiti State, Ayodele Fayose, has revealed what he described as the true details of the visit by the Governor of Oyo State, Makinde, to the President Bola Tinubu at the presidential villa in Abuja. Fayose, in a statement, claimed that the meeting ended without any political gains for Makinde. According to Fayose, Makinde visited the president alongside the governor of Plateau State, Caleb Mutfwang, which he said suggested Makinde was unwilling to meet Tinubu alone. He alleged that Tinubu told Makinde he was only prepared to discuss official matters concerning Oyo State, not politics, especially Makinde's earlier allegation that the president was working to turn Nigeria into a one-party state. Fayose further claimed that Tinubu made it clear he did not expect Makinde's support ahead of a 2027 general election and would instead stand firmly with his party. He also alleged that the president reaffirmed his support for the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, describing him as a loyal and consistent ally whose support could not be ignored. Into some labor matters, electricity supply in Kano and surrounding areas was disrupted after workers at the Kano Electricity Distribution Company began an indefinite strike over what it described as poor working conditions. The Senior Staff Association of Electricity and Allied Companies and the National Union of Electricity Employees embarked on the strike after management failed to meet workers' demands following a January 20 deadline. Deputy President General of the association, Rewa Shehu, said, quote, "We are here to lock down activities because they failed to comply with so many agreements. Since 2014, we have struggled with issues ranging from non-remittance of pensions to settlement of death benefits and poor working environment." End of quote. Another leader of the union, Ado Gaya, accused Ketco management of bias in staff promotions, noting that some staff had gone a decade without advancement, while others received selective promotions. In response, Getco management said it had prioritized staff welfare since taking office 7 months ago, implementing structured programs and paying over 80% of the agreed 2025 pension remittance. Into the presidency, the President Bola Tinubu has approved the posting of 4 ambassador-designates to key foreign missions out of the 68 nominees earlier confirmed by the Senate in December of 2025. The development was announced in a statement by the Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Bayo Ononuga, who said Tinubu approved the posting of Ambassador Ayodele Oke as Nigeria's ambassador-designate to France, while Colonel Lateef Are was posted as ambassador-designate to the United States. Also approved is the posting of Ambassador Amin Delhatu, a former Nigerian envoy to South Korea, as a High Commissioner-designate to the United Kingdom. In addition, Usman Sulaiman, a former governor of Kebbi State, has been named ambassador-designate to Turkey, a country President Tinubu is scheduled to visit on a state visit next week. Onanuga noted that the President has directed the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to formally notify the governments of the 4 countries of the postings in line with established diplomatic procedures. In other news, President Bola Tinubu has approved the commencement of commercial oil drilling at Tongeji Island in Ipokia local government area of Ogun State, southwest Nigeria. This says, according to the governor of Ogun State, Dapo Abiodun, who was speaking while receiving the flag officer commanding Western Naval Command, Rear Admiral Abubakar Mustafa in Abeokuta, the state capital. Abiodun also revealed that Tinubu approved the immediate takeoff of the Olukula Deep Sea Port project in Ogun Waterside local government area of the state. He said the projects would boost economic activities in the coastal communities and help decongest the Lagos port. In the same light, President Bola Tinubu has approved the gazetting of targeted investment-linked incentives to support the proposed Bonga Southwest Deep Offshore Oil Project by Shell and its partners. The President gave the directive while receiving a Shell delegation led by its Global Chief Executive Officer, Wael Sawan, at the Presidential Villa in Abuja. Tinubu said the incentives are disciplined and globally competitive, designed to attract new capital without undermining government revenues. He added that incentives are focused on new investment, increased oil production, strong local content delivery, and in-country value addition. Tinubu further emphasized that the Bonga Southwest project is strategic to Nigeria's economy and is expected to create jobs and generate significant foreign exchange earnings. Welcome to business. Seplat Energy has announced the appointment of Chairman of Heirs Holdings, Tony Elumelu, as a non-executive director effective January 22nd, 2026. The company disclosed this in a statement by its Director of Legal and Company Secretary, Edith Onwuchekwa. Seplat said the appointment followed the resignation of Olivia Claret Dolangavant as a non-executive director on the same day. According to the company, the development comes after the sale of establishment Morel et Prom SA's to 20.7% shareholdings in Seplat to Heirs Holdings Limited and Heirs Energies Limited. Seplat commended Langavant, who joined the board in January 2020 as M&P's nominee, for his contributions, noting that he provided valuable strategic and technical guidance during his tenure. The company expressed confidence that Elumelu's experience and leadership will support Seplat's strategic objectives and strengthen his commitment to long-term growth. And on the foreign scene, United States President Donald Trump has inaugurated his Board of Peace, a new international body aimed at maintaining a ceasefire in Israel's war with Hamas. Trump said the initiative is for the world, emphasizing that the project could eventually rival the United Nations. Speaking at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland, Trump said, I think, quote, I think we can spread it out to other things as we succeed in Gaza, end of quote, signaling ambitions beyond the ceasefire. The event featured Ali Shahat, head of a proposed technocratic government in Gaza, who announced that the Rafah border crossing with Egypt will open in both directions next week. Shahat, a former Palestinian Authority official, will oversee the Palestinian Committee governing Gaza under U.S. supervision. Trump claimed that 59 countries had signed onto the board, though only representatives from 19 attended the unveiling. He addressed the attendees, calling them the most powerful people in the world. Welcome to sport. The Confederation of African Football has sanctioned Algeria over misconduct by players, officials and supporters during and after their quarter-final clash with Nigeria at the 2025 African Cup of Nations. Goalkeeper Lucas Zidane was suspended for 2 matches, which he was served during the AFCON 2027 qualifiers, while defender Rafik Belgali received a 4-match suspension, with 2 matches suspended pending further offenses. CAF also fined the Algerian Football Federation $100,000 for improper conduct. The disciplinary measures underscore CAF's commitment to maintaining fair play and sporting discipline across the tournament. In entertainment, Yeni Kuti, first daughter of Afrobeat pioneer Fela Anikulapo Kuti, has spoken on the public spat between her brother Seun Kuti and music star Wizkid, saying she will not get involved. The feud began last week when Seun accused Wizkid's fans, Wizkid FC, of undermining Fela's legacy. It escalated after Seun challenged Wizkid to rein in his supporters, prompting a series of defensive posts from the singer. Speaking on TVC's Your View on Thursday, Yeni described Wizkid as a close friend and said she refused to participate in the exchange of insults. She highlighted his long-standing ties to the Kuti family, recalling that he once performed as a backup singer during celebration at the African Shrine. Yeni urged Nigerians to focus on honoring Fela's legacy rather than fueling the conflict. She said, quote, whichever way you look at it, this one is bigger than Fela, that one is bigger than Fela, fight yourselves, leave the man who has done his own, end of quote. She added that continued mentions of Fela in the feud only underscore his greatness and called for the reconciliation between the parties involved. And with that, we come to the end of the bulletin for now. You can follow us for more updates on these stories and others on our website, africanews24.ng. You can also follow us on all our social media platforms to stay informed and ahead. I'm Timothy Crown, ADERIBIGBE. Good afternoon.